this year it was totally worth it.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Savage Planning Commission. Today is Thursday, June 5th, 2025, 7 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. Could I get a roll call, please?
Brown,
Here.
Christensen. Here. Item,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Thompson is excused. Wolf, Zessman.
Here.
All right, thank you. And if I could get everyone to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move the agenda.
All right. First, staff, is there any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
All right, being that there's a motion to approve the agenda, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. With that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstain? All right, agenda approved. All right, next on the agenda is meeting minutes. Were there any changes to the meeting minutes? All right, I haven't seen anything.
Mr. Chair, given our resident minute copy editor is not here, I will go ahead and just move the minutes.
All right, I hear that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Meeting minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is the public hearing. First one being recommendation to the City Council for a comprehensive planned land use map amendment and zoning map amendment for property located at 15625 Hampshire Avenue, commonly known as Creek Hill Park, Project 25-27. Regina?
Good evening, Commission. Creek Hill Park is the first item on the agenda, and just a little bit of background. So in 2020 and 2021, the city acquired 3 parcels as part of Creek Hill East and Hampshire Preserve developments. The city received these pieces of land in lieu of park dedication fees. So when a project, development project, residential project comes through the city has the option of obtaining land or fees, and fees generally will pay for either acquiring land elsewhere or for capital improvements or equipment, park equipment and things like that. So in this case, we acquired land. As part of the development project, the entire developments were zoned as planned residential districts. At that time, staff must have not requested to rezone or re-guide the park area land as park. And our assumption is because they didn't know maybe exactly where those boundaries were because there were 2 different developments coming in at the time. And so recently, as staff was going through an exercise of looking at this development because we knew park equipment was going to be delivered soon, and we took a look at the map and said, why is it zoned planned residential district and why is it guided low density? It should be park. So we're proactively requesting to re-guide and rezone the property essentially to park so that the 2 maps match and that it's appropriate for the intended use of the property. So the specific requests are for a comprehensive plan amendment from low density to park on 2.26 acres. That's the total of the 3 parcels. And then a zoning map amendment from planned residential district, or PRD, to preservation open space, P1, on 2.26 acres. So P1 is the appropriate district for park in our zoning code currently today. And those are the parcels outlined in red on your screen are the parcels that staff is proposing to be re-guided and rezoned. With any zoning requests, there are findings of fact that are required as part of our city code requirements. There are 5 findings of fact that are listed on your slides. Essentially, and I can read through one by one if you'd like, or just summarize. Essentially, what we're saying is that the proposed zoning and proposed guiding is consistent with the zoning and comprehensive plan and is appropriate for it to be zoned and guided that way based off of the surrounding uses and based off of the intent. Staff does recommend that the Planning Commission recommend to the City Council approval of the findings of fact and the proposed amendments as follows. Again, the comprehensive plan amendment from low density to park on 2.26 acres, the zoning map amendment from PRD to preservation open space on 2.26 acres. There are alternatives within your packet for consideration. This is a public hearing. Members of the public are certainly open to providing feedback at the time of the public hearing, and certainly welcome any discussion and Q&A that you might have.
Very good, thank you. Planning Commission, are there any questions for Regina at this time? I do have one. I noticed on the aerial map provided, it looks like that there is a private property that has some sort of landscaping as part of that parcel, or is that just an illusion going on with?
Mr. Chair, I believe that you're seeing is the line there that is stormwater and erosion control.
Okay, that would make
From
sense.
that, when that house was constructed. I know that there is some encroachment on that property, and I know that Parks have been working with them to get that fixed. So there was a little bit of landscaping, but I think this picture is just a little more dramatic because of the stormwater and erosion control.
Sure. Okay, thanks, Jared. All right, Planning Commission, anything else before we open? All right, at this time, I'll hear a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I will open the public hearing at 7:08. Seeing as this is internal and we don't have an applicant per se, I will open it to the public. If they'd like to step up to the podium, you shall be heard. All right. Seeing there's nobody that wishes to speak, I am willing to hear a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. Public hearing closed at 7:09. All right, Commission, any additional comments or questions for Regina? All right.
This is a slam dunk if I've ever seen one. I'll move that we recommend to the City Council approval of the findings of facts and the proposed amendments underlying the comprehensive plan amendment from low density to park on 2.26 acres and the zoning map amendment from PRD to preservation open space district P-1 on 2.26 acres.
Very well, Commissioner Christensen. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nelson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. And next on the agenda, we have recommendation to the City Council for a comprehensive plan land use map amendment and zoning map amendment for property located at 13500 Dakota Avenue, commonly known as Community Park, Project 25-28.
Great.
Again, Regina.
Thank you, members of the commission. So this one specifically for Community Park, similar case, but a little different. I'll point that out as we go through the slides. So in this case, Community Park, the city acquired land known as Outlot A, B, and Q of Providence First Edition in lieu of park dedication fees. This was through an agreement with previous landowner. The land that is highlighted on your screen just to the east of the dome, that particular property is zoned appropriately. It's zoned P2, which is a public building zoning district, which is consistent with the sports dome just to the west, which is zoned and guided appropriately. As far as the guidance, it is currently low-density residential. So the two are not matching up on that particular parcel. So our recommendation as a staff is to keep that zoning on the property, but then to re-guide the land as park. The skate park, which is immediately east of that land, is currently zoned planned residential district, and it's guided low density. So in this case, our proposal is to guide the property as park and then rezone as P1, which is preservation open space. Park is a allowable use within the P1 zoning district because there's no physical building where people can go in, and there's no intention to put a physical building there on that property. We're recommending a P1 zoning for that particular property. So the specific request is a comprehensive plan amendment from low density to park on 15.01 acres, and that encompasses both parcels, but only a rezoning on the eastern parcel, which is currently the skate park, from planned residential district to preservation open space on 7.51 acres. Over here, sorry. Findings of fact are similar to the previous request for Creek Hill Park. Basically, this is in alignment with the proposed intent of the site, how it is used today, how it's intended to be used in the future, as well as bringing both pieces of land into compliance with our comprehensive plan map and our zoning map. Staff does recommend approval of the request by the Planning Commission to the City Council. We recommend approval of the findings of fact and the proposed amendments as follows. There are alternatives for your consideration. Again, this is a public hearing, and I'm certainly able to stand for any questions. I do want to mention not only this project, but the project before were also posted on Let's Talk Savage for the public, posted in our Star Tribune, which is our official newspaper. Letters were sent out to everyone within 350 feet of the project boundaries. And to date, I have not received any written comments or letters for either of the projects. So with that, stand for any questions.
Very good. Commission members, are there any questions for Regina on this particular parcel? All right, it's at this time that I will hear a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
I have a motion by Nelson and a second by Christensen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. Public hearing open at 7:14. Seeing as this is internal again, the public is welcome to step up to the podium if you wish to speak on this, and you shall be heard.
I'm Kyle Krecklow. I'm a resident in Savage, adjacent to the property just east of the dome. If this passes the rezoning, does the city have a plan for that space now that it would be considered park space, or do you guys have any input you could give us on future plans for that property, again, assuming it passes?
Very good. Thank you for your question. Regina, would you like to answer?
So there are no plans for the land from a zoning standpoint, no immediate plans for the land just east of the dome. I would have to refer back to the park master plan and anything that would be in there. I'd refer the public to that, or Mr. Cricklow to that as well. As far as a skate park, there is a proposed public placemaking feature at the skate park. It will be a kind of a monument or statue of proposed is of a kind of a monster skater that's proposed to be on the south eastern portion of the property. So I can zoom into that. Oh. So in this general location where my hand is, there's proposed to be, I believe it's a 9-foot tall public art feature in this location.
And I believe, am I correct, that in rezoning this would allow this feature to happen?
Yep. So if the city did not rezone the property or re-guide the property, a public art feature could still be installed. It would have to be smaller in nature or shorter in nature than what is currently proposed. So rezoning and re-guiding does enable a larger public art feature within that location.
Okay, very good. This time, is there anybody else in the public that's willing to speak? Commission members, before we close the public hearing, is there anything you'd like to ask Regina while we're at the topic?
Mr. Chair, am I correct, the parcel east of the dome, what is there? Is that just an open grass field right now, or are there soccer fields there, or what's the current state of that? I mean, it's operating as part of the park right now, basically, right?
That is a great question. I wish I had our Parks Director here with me right now by my side, because he could answer that like in a snap. I'm not sure how exactly it's programmed. I don't know, Jared, if you're aware if it's
Yeah, it's
active.
currently used as field, so like soccer field or football field, like it's striped out, I believe. So I think that they recently redid that field this last year.
Very good. If there's anyone else that would like to speak, they're allowed to do so. Otherwise, I'm opening a motion to, or I'm willing to hear a motion to end the public hearing.
So move.
All right, motion by Commissioner Brown. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nelson. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, public hearing closed at 7:18. All right, commission members, are there any additional comments or questions before we go for a motion?
Out of curiosity, do we know, is the 9-foot monster skater, what's the proposed funding source for that? Is that state legacy dollars, or what's the?
Yep, I can answer that. So liquor store funds is where the funding comes from.
Now, Regina, seeing as there's nothing proposed for that site apart from that statue, what's the process to get something placed there in the future?
If there were a structure that we're planning on building, likely, depending on the size, it may trigger either a site plan review, depending on the intensity of it. It could potentially come through a public hearing and city council. It kind of depends on the threshold of the size of the structure. So it's kind of unknown at this time. There's no intention, the reason for the zoning or proposed zoning from parks, or to parks, from city staff is really just to clean things up, because currently it's zoned, for, at least the skate park is zoned for residential right now, and the city does not intend for housing to be in that location.
Now, am I correct that it would be a part of the Parks and Recreation Commission to bring something to the table in the event that something were to be here? Like a
Typically,
playground or something?
yeah, typically, for parks specifically, they do have a parks master plan that's kind of their guide, and there's usually associated with that is a capital improvement plan that shows how certain structures, whether it be a play structure or a field or sport court, how that will be ultimately programmed and installed. And then, again, depending on the level of construction or level of amendment to the ground with structure, that may or may not trigger review by Planning Commission and Council. Parks Commission does generally review changes to the park. So generally, they would be involved in, maybe it's, what do you think of play structure A, B, and C? Okay, staff recommends A. What does the Parks Commission recommend? And then moving that forward. Or then they were heavily involved with the Parks Master Plan as well. So,
Very good, thank you.
thank you.
Commission members, any other comments? All right, at this time, I'm willing to hear a motion.
So move, recommendation, approval of finding of facts and comprehensive plan use map amendment and zoning amendment related to community park.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Brown. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Zessman. Very good. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Great. This is currently scheduled for the next city council meeting following this meeting, so I believe it's June 16th. If council does approve the project, the next step would be for staff to submit a comprehensive plan amendment with the Metropolitan Council. It's an administrative action through the Metropolitan Council, and any changes would be subject to their final approval. So, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, business. Do we have any old or new business?
No business.
Do we have any informational updates?
Yeah, Dam Patch Days is June 26th through the 29th. And there is a pancake breakfast at Station 2 right over here on the 29th, on Sunday morning, the 29th. The Planning Commission members' emails will be added to a distribution list for a Friday newsletter that comes from Brad, our administrator. So if you do not wish to be on that list, just let me know. I could be taken off, but it's just, things that have happened that week, some notifications of things that are going on in the coming days or the coming weeks, that sort of thing, so.
All right, very good. Thanks, Jared.
Then we will have a plan commission meeting then on the 26th too, so.
Perfect. All right, with that, I'm willing to hear a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right, motion by Christensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zessman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed or abstain? All right, motion passes. Meeting adjourned.